DreAllDay.com.
You are now tuned in to the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. What is that? That is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into one framework, one approach, one mentality, actually a bunch of mentalities. We've written several books on this subject. We got this daily masterclass that comes out daily. It means every single day. All of this is all under one umbrella that is called Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day. Welcome to the show. And today's topic is how to give people what they need, even when what they need is something that they don't actually want. Maybe some of you have been in this situation where the thing that you know another person needs is something that they have decided or maybe expressed to you directly or indirectly that they didn't actually want. How can you get it to them anyway? We're going to talk about that here today. First, I want to tell everyone I have a text message line where I want you to text me and tell me the best idea, the best thought that you got from today's, or even the best quote you got from today's class. My number is 305-384-6894. And once you are in there, and this is also, here's an alternative, so if you don't have anything specific that jumped out at you from this particular master class, you can also just text me and say hello, and you will then be in my texting community once we confirm you, because the reason why you want to do that is because every day I send out a daily motivation text first thing in the morning to everyone who's in my texting community. So if you want to get a daily message straight from me that will keep you sharp, keep you focused, keep you on point, get you ready and energized for your day, then you should text me at 305-384-6894. And also every day I spend time going through my text messages and engaging with the people in my texting community. So if you ever have a question or challenge, you'll also be able to engage with me directly right there. So this topic here today, how to give people what they need even when they don't want it. I told you in episode 1058 that there's three types of people in life, the three levels of people. And the second level of person is that 2 hour person. You got the 2 minutes, the 2 hours, and the 2 days person. The 2 hour person is that person who's in the middle. Like sometimes they are acting like a 2 minute person, the person that you just say hi and bye to. Sometimes they are on the path towards being a 2 days person, type person who is working on their game. They're serious about their growth and their development personally and professionally. They are really making the most of their 5 forms of investment, but they are kind of going back and forth. You never know what you're going to get from them. They're kind of inconsistent. And I told you that this 2 hour person who's in the middle here, they could go either direction. You got to give them some space. You cannot force this person to become something that they don't want to become. You cannot force anyone to be something that they don't want to be. So when you, as a 2 day person, you come across these 2 hour people, you can give them a little bit. You give them 2 hours, but you can't give them 2 days. You got to give them enough that they get to decide if they want to come the rest of the way and do what they have to do to get on your level. But if you insist on trying to make these people get to the level that you want them to be at, and you're not going to follow my advice and let them choose on their own, there is a way to do that. I'm going to tell you how it's done. It may not be as hands-on as you want it to be, but understand, as I told you already, I already gave you the disclaimer, you cannot make somebody be something that they don't want to be. You can only plant the seeds. You can lead the horse to the water, but you can't make him drink it. So today I'm going to tell you how you can get the horse as close to the water as possible, but you still can't make them open their mouth and drink the water. Let's get into it. Point number one. Topic, once again, is how to give people what they need, even if and when they don't want it. First thing you have to do is put yourself in a frame of mind. We talked about the strategy. Well, first of all, let me back up. Mindset, then strategy, then tactics. When I told you about the three levels or the system of creating success in life. And the first level is understanding the mindset behind the things that you're doing. The second level is understanding the strategy of how we're going to get things done. And then the third level is the actual tactics. How are we actually going to do this? And that is the hierarchy. Let me give you that episode, because I want to make sure everybody knows where that one is. I told you the 3-tier hierarchy of creating success. I'm talking and looking at the exact same time. I'll give it to you before the end of this episode. But anyway, feeding medicine to a dog is the mentality that I want you to have. All right, the mentality is understanding that you can't just go to any of you who's ever had a dog and you need to feed medicine to your dog. And I think everybody who's had a dog, you probably had to give the dog some medicine at some point. you can't just hand the dog or hold your hand out with some medicine, because the dog's going to sniff it, smell it, that doesn't smell like the kind of food that the dog normally eats, and the dog's just going to let it go. It's going to pass on that medicine. The way that you feed the medicine to the dog, at least in my experience, is you attract the dog with something that they want. Give them some deli meat, give them some peanut butter, give them a treat, whatever the dog likes, and then you hide the medicine inside of it. So while the dog is eating the thing that it wants, it's also getting the thing that it needs. And you got to treat people sometimes the same way that you treat a dog. The easiest way to get another person's cooperation in life, in anything, is to speak their language and get on their wavelength. You have to be able to speak the dialect that another person is speaking, even if you think they should listen to you just based off you talking the way that you normally talk. If you talk to them that way, they're not going to hear you. Or you're going to go over their heads. Not everybody's like you. Not everybody thinks like you. Not everybody's wired like you. You have to be able to get on their level. In episode 1251, I told you about how to speak multiple languages within the language. And that means even if you're speaking English, I'll assume that you do since you're listening to the show, that doesn't mean you speak English the same way to every person that you talk to. You're talking to some people who hang on the street corner. There's a certain way you're going to talk to them versus the way that you would talk if you're standing in a corporate boardroom with a bunch of people with suits on. They speak different dialects even though everybody is speaking English. So feeding medicine to a dog means if you're talking to those corporate people, you got to feed them the treats that they like and then mix in the points that you want to make. And if you're speaking to those people on the corner, you got to feed them the treats that they like, and then you mix in the message that you want to give. And the treats are different for each one. All right, those dogs are not the same. They don't have the same appetites. So you got to learn how to talk to people on the level that they're at. And this is a communication skill. All right, this is not a bonus thing. This is a requirement that you have to have if you want to be able to build rapport and connect with different types of people. You got to be able to speak to them on the level that they're at, whatever that level happens to be. You get into people's minds by doing what they like doing, which is talking like they talk, at least sounding like they sound, or at least appearing to, or pretending to even be on the same wavelength that they're on mentally. Unless you're trying to alienate them or you don't care about connecting with them, then you can throw everything that I'm saying right now out the window. But when people feel like you understand them and they feel like you understand their world and you understand their mindset, they will open up to you and they will open up to your world. This is just simple psychology. Anyone who knows anything about building rapport and connecting with people knows that one of your jobs as a strong communicator is you have to know how to connect with people on the level that they're on. All right, simple psychology. Point number 2. Today's topic, once again, is how to give people what they need even when they don't actually want it. Those are need and wants, two different things. Point number 2, once you have people's attention and you have them listening to you, you got them, and you start to bring them to your wavelength, then you can give them what they need. All right, like I said, you give a dog medicine along with the treat. So the dog is eating the treat, but at the same time, they're getting the medicine that they need. But you have to be able to connect with them first. All right, so you get them you entice them, lure them in with the treat first, then you give them the medicine, and they don't even know that it's happening. Sports coaches, for example, teach life lessons through sports. But if that sports coach was just to walk up to some kids who would eventually be their players and start trying to give out life lessons without mixing the sports in first, without getting the kids' attention through sports, those kids might not listen to anything that sports coach had to say. Teachers and mentors, for example, teach life lessons through having trust. And I hear teachers say all the time, one reason that they're able to tell their kids the things that they tell them, or give them some tough love, or give them some hard lessons, or even scold their students, or even parents are able to scold their kids the way that they do, is because the kid understands that the parent does have the kid's best interests at heart. And if the kid doesn't believe you have their best interests at heart, they don't believe you actually care about them as a person, they're not going to be listening to anything that you say, even if you have amazing information. So this is why it's so important that you be able to build the rapport and make the connection first. Once the connection is in place, then you have somebody's ears, you have their minds. Now you can say what you have to say. I talk about this also in my people skills course, which shows you how to be that charismatic leader, be that person who can build rapport, be that person who knows how to hold a conversation and make a connection with another person, even if you and that person come from two completely different worlds. That is covered in the people skills course, which is available exclusively in Work on Your Game University, which you can access by going to workonyourgameuniversity.com. That link is also down below in the description. So as I told you, give a dog medicine with a treat. Sports coaches, you get the kids' ears through the sport, whatever sport you're playing whatever sport the kids are playing and you're coaching, then you can give some life lessons. You can mix them in the conversations about sports. Teachers and mentors, you get the trust by caring, and then you can give the life lessons and the hard feedback, I guess, for lack of a better term, that you want to give to your subjects. The disclaimer about this is this process does not happen as quickly with human beings as it happens with dogs. All right, so I want to make sure I'm telling y'all everything. All right, it doesn't happen as quickly when you're dealing with a human being. All right, human beings, they need time to warm up to other people, especially when you're talking to someone who's 19, 29, 47 years old. They have all of those years of conditioning in their minds. They are not necessarily, and every human is different, but they're not necessarily going to just open up to you just because you believe you have something valuable for them. There are some people who will open up to you immediately and listen to everything you have to say. And there are other people, you're going to have to work on them for a little while before they're willing to listen to anything that you have to say. The question is, now, how important is it for you to get that message to that person? Because that will tell you how much time, effort, attention, energy, and focus you are willing to give to opening this person up so that they can listen to you. Now, the episode that I was looking for, I meant to mention to you all, is episode 1921, the 3-step framework of achievement, where we talk mindset, strategy, and tactics. I told you I would tell you before the end of the episode. So the disclaimer again, we're still on point number 2 here. The topic, once again, how to give people what they need even when they don't want it. Human beings are not dogs. All right, humans, we have much more complex, much larger and more complex brains than dogs. We have much stronger memories than dogs. And when it comes mentally, human beings are just on another level from a dog. Okay, so a dog, you can get a dog's attention and build rapport with a dog really quickly if you offer them the right treat. Some human beings are like that, but many human beings are not. Okay, every human, including me and including you, we have our own biases and we have our own defense mechanisms built up within us that have to be worked through before we can be opened up to another person and to that other person's ideas. And again, the levels are different. Our firewalls, so to speak, are higher or lower based on who we are as a person, based on our own personal experiences, and based on how we perceive the person or idea that is confronting us in the moment. Point number 3. Today's topic, once again, is how to give people what they need, even when it's not what they want. Number 3, let them figure it out on their own what actually happened. So this is the 3rd step here. This is a 3-step process that I'm giving you here. I'm not giving you 3 options. I'm giving you 3 steps. This 3rd step is, so now you have lured them in. You lured them in with the treat. Then you fed them medicine they didn't even know you were giving them. Now, let them figure out what you did. Let them figure out, and it may take some time, for them to realize, oh, this person was actually teaching me something here, and you didn't even realize what they were doing while they were doing it. This might take years for the person to realize this is what this person was actually doing. This person was actually giving me the game while giving me this other thing that I thought I wanted. They were actually giving me the thing that I needed at the same time. Let them figure it out on their own. All right, if they have any level of intelligence, they will eventually figure it out. Again, you might be long dead and gone by the time they figure it out. Oh, this is what my parents were trying to show me. But they'll figure it out. It might be 6 months later. It might be the next day that they figure it out. But you don't have to explain it out. You don't have to spell it out for them directly. If you want to, you can, but it'd be much better if you let them figure it out on their own, because as I've told you many times here, what another person says to themselves is infinitely more valuable than what you say to that person. So if you spell out for a person everything that they need to understand, yes, they heard you, and maybe you are perfectly eloquent and you said it exactly as it needed to be said because you're so articulate and precise. However, it's not going to mean as much to them until they say it to themselves. And if you let them figure it out on their own, at least what I've read, any books on human psychology and human nature, is that we tend to more quickly and deeply internalize an idea when we believe we came upon it on our own, as opposed to when someone else gives it to us directly. So if I sit here and tell you exactly what you need to understand about everything, yes, you can appreciate it and you can tell me how great I am. You can text me and tell me. I'll accept all compliments, but it will feel much better and it will go in much deeper with you, and you will much more internalize it, and it's much more likely that you will actually utilize it if you think about it on your own. You marinate on what you hear from me, and then you start saying it to yourself. That's when you're really going to start putting it into action. Now, again, I can help you out. I can give you things, but you got to take what I tell you. Then you got to sift through what I told you, take out the pieces that most resonate with you. And it's my job to give it to you in a way that you can understand it. And then when you start saying it to yourself, that's when it really starts to have impact. And this is what you have to do with people. You got to let them figure out on their own what you're giving them. With a dog, you can't explain to the dog. You can't say to your poodle, hey, I just gave you some medicine because medicine is going to keep your heart safe so that you don't get sick and you live a few more years. A dog will not understand what you're saying. But human beings, we have the ability to think. We have the ability to rationalize. You could spell things out for people, but again, we internalize messages better when we spell it out for ourselves. You can help by spelling things out. I mean, that's almost exactly what I do here on the show. I spell things out all the time, but I'm spelling it out in such a way that I want you to take it, and you got to be able to say it back to yourself. That's why I tell you to take notes when you listen to the show. I tell you to listen to these episodes over and over again. I refer you to multiple other episodes, almost every episode that I do here at this show, because you got to hear these things to the point that my voice is in your mind, and that voice of me talking starts to become your voice, you talking. You plant the seed, and then you let them water the soil. And the way that you plant a seed in another person's mind is by telling them something. Say something, write it down, however you want them to get the message. Now, that's the seed that's been planted in their mind. The only way that seed that in the soil that it's in gets watered is by that person thinking on their own. You cannot water the soil in another person's mind. The only way that soil gets watered is by them thinking. So if you're giving your time, so this is why you got to make sure you're choosing 2-hour and 2-day people to give seeds to. Because if you give a seed of intelligence to a 2-minute person, they're probably just going to let the seed get scattered and eaten by birds. Why? All right, who cares why? All right, they're a 2-minute person. You shouldn't have been giving so much time to them in the first place. There's a cold world out here. So when you give some seeds of intelligence to a person, make sure you're giving it to somebody who's actually going to do something with it. All right, not a person who's going to waste. It's not even waste. They're going to take what you gave them and they're not even going to understand what it is. So it's not even wasted because they don't even know that they're wasting it. You're the one who wasted it because you gave your time, your most valuable resource, to someone who's not even worthy of it. And again, episode 1058, I told you how to discern who's worth what. And not everybody is worth your time. Even if you think they deserve it, or you think, not that they deserve it, you think they could get value out of it, understand that it's a give and take. A person has to be wanting the value that you're offering in order for you to give it to them. If they don't want it, you can't give it to them. You cannot force it upon a person. You cannot force intelligence on another person. Let's recap today's class, which is how to give people what they need, even when they don't want it. I told you in episode 1058 about the 2-minute, 2-hour, and 2 days people. And those 2-hour people, you got to give them space to come around to your point of view. You cannot force it, but if you insist on doing so, here's the only way to do it. Number one, feed medicine to a dog. That is your mentality. Attract people with what they want. Easiest way to get a person's cooperation is to speak their language. Get on their level, think how they think, get into their head. This is simple psychology. It's the only way you can open up a person who is not seeing eye to eye with you. Point number two, this is the strategy. Once you have their attention, give them what they need. You give a dog medicine by giving them a treat. They don't even know they're getting medicine, but you're giving them a treat. They think they're just getting a treat, but they're actually getting medicine. Sports coaches, teachers, parents, mentors, we all do this. The disclaimer is this process does not happen as quickly with a human being as it does with a dog. So you got to be willing to invest some time in a person. But I just told you in episode 1058 how much time you should be investing in different types of people. And number three, here's the tactic. Let them figure it out on their own what actually happened. Don't spell it out for them. Because with a dog, you can't explain. Human beings have the ability to think. So if you spell it out, yes, they can get it, but we tend to internalize messages better when we spell it out for ourselves. So let people think on their own. Let them water the seed on their own. You can't force them to water a seed. All you can do is plant it, and if they water it, they water it. If they don't, and they let the birds get to it, hey, that's just how it goes. All right, this is life. It's a cold, harsh world out here. That's how it works. Send me a text. Tell me the best thing you got from this class, or just text me if you want to get my daily motivation text. My number is 305-384-6894. And you're a person who wants to make sure that you become and remain that 2 days type of person, a person who is worthy of giving some game to other people, that you can be a person that can be a mentor to others, type person who makes sure you hold yourself accountable, you're reaching your goals, you're finding bigger problems, you're solving them, you're continually working on your game, and your game is giving value to other people, and you want to go further and farther and harder, then you would be a great candidate for my 3rd-day mastermind. It's the only place that I offer direct one-on-one coaching to anyone. My time is my most valuable resource. I do not give it to just anybody. The only way you can get into my 3rd day mastermind is you must get on a Zoom call with me first, because I want to find out some specific things. First of all, who you are, what you're about. Then I want to know where you're at. I want to know where you want to go. I want to know what your challenges are with getting there and how I could possibly help you get there. All that we're going to find out on a quick Zoom call. If you want to get on that call with me, you're interested in that program, then go to workonyourgameuniversity.com, click the button that says join the mastermind. The link is down below, by the way. You'll fill out a quick form. We'll get on the Zoom call, talk about what we need to talk about, and I'll tell you how it could look to possibly work with me long term. Work on your game. Dre all day.